Disclaimer: this story contains mature themes intended for adult viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. The steam curled around her like a secret, soft tendrils of heat clinging to bare skin and blurring the lines between what was real and what shouldn't be thought at all. The bathroom was quiet, save for the water cascading down her curves, her head tipped back as a quiet moan escaped, barely a whisper, yet heavy enough to hang in the air like a confession. She wasn't expecting anyone home this early. Especially not him. He stood frozen in the doorway, towel in hand, his breath catching just as hers did. His eyes widened for only a second, and then, something shifted. Not in the obvious way, but in the space between them. That split-second pause, when neither one spoke, but everything was said. She turned, startled. Water beating down her collarbone, catching light like diamonds. Her gaze collided with his, and it lingered. Not out of shock. Not out of shame. But something deeper. Something neither of them had ever dared to name. A flicker of recognition. A pull. "Didn't hear you come in," she said, voice thick with warmth, like honey melting on hot skin. "Door wasn't locked," he replied, low and hesitant. But he didn't leave. She wrapped the towel around herself slowly, almost deliberately, not as a shield, but a question. Was this a boundary? Or a dare? They were two people caught in a moment they couldn't explain. Not mother. Not son. Not really. Just two grown strangers orbiting the same house, brushing past each other for months with glances that lasted a beat too long. Laughs that strayed too close to flirtation. Unspoken questions hanging between them like fog on a mirror. And now, the silence between them was no longer empty. He turned, finally. "Sorry," he said, but it didn't sound like an apology. The door clicked shut behind him, and she stood still, water now cooling on her skin, her heart beating a rhythm she didn't want to name. This was just the beginning. The door had clicked, but the air hadn't cleared. It still shimmered with the echo of what just passed, her moan, his gaze, that breathless second where everything almost happened. She stood there wrapped in cotton and confusion, her back against cool tiles, steam rolling off her like a memory trying to fade. But it wouldn't. Not this time. Down the hallway, she heard the faint sound of his footsteps slow. Then stop. Was he hesitating? Waiting? She didn't know what made her step out of the bathroom, maybe curiosity, maybe courage laced with something reckless. Her hair was damp, skin still kissed by warmth. She found him in the kitchen, leaning against the counter, towel now slung over his shoulder, posture casual but his eyes anything but. He looked up. "You okay?" His voice was quiet, careful. She nodded, lips parting as if to say more, but the words never came. Instead, she walked toward the fridge, fingers brushing past him as she reached for a bottle of water. Just a touch. Just skin grazing skin. It felt like fire. He didn't move. Didn't step back. And neither did she. "You scared me," she said, her voice softer now, not accusatory. Just, true. "You scared me more," he murmured, eyes never leaving hers. Didn't expect to hear that. A slow, charged silence bloomed between them. She looked away first, swallowing the tension like it tasted too good to spit out. "We keep doing this." "Doing what?" "This thing," she said, turning back to face him fully. "Acting like there's nothing going on when we both feel it." He didn't deny it. His jaw tensed just slightly, that flicker of hesitation again. "I don't think we're supposed to." "Doesn't stop it from happening." He stepped closer, not touching, but near enough for her to feel the heat of him. His eyes searched hers, not for permission, but for understanding. Neither of them leaned in. But no one stepped away. He whispered, "This feels dangerous." She smiled, a slow, knowing curve of her lips. "That's what makes it hard to walk away from." And still, the moment held. The kitchen was too quiet. The kind of quiet that made you hear everything else, the thrum of your heartbeat, the sound of your breath catching, the unsaid things screaming in your chest. He looked down, then up again. You always wear that towel-like armor, he said, half joking, half not. She raised an eyebrow, playing along. And you always act like you don't notice. Their smiles were thin, too fragile to last. They were standing on a wire, not quite across the line, but already too far from where things used to be safe. I should go change, she said, but made no move to leave. He nodded. Yeah. You should. Neither of them moved. Instead, she looked at him, really looked. Why do you stay here? He blinked, startled. What do you mean? You could have moved out months ago. You're old enough. You've got a job. Friends. Options. Her voice was careful, but her eyes were daring him to tell the truth. He hesitated. Then, quietly, I guess, some part of me likes being here. With me? Her voice cracked just slightly, just enough. He didn't answer right away. But his gaze said it. Yes. With you. Then, slowly, maddeningly slow, he reached for the water bottle in her hand, brushing her fingers as he took it from her. His touch was featherlight. But it lingered. Too long. She inhaled sharply. We can't, I know, he said. His voice was thick, low. That's the problem. For a second, just one, she leaned in, drawn to the gravity between them. Her lips parted. His hand hovered near her waist. Then she froze. And stepped back. I can't want this, she whispered, as if saying it out loud might make it less real. He swallowed hard, jaw clenched. You think I don't? She shook her head. That's not the point. He nodded once, eyes dark. Right. But even as they stood apart, something tethered them. A pull. A promise neither of them dared fulfill. Not yet. She stood by the counter, clutching the edge like it was the only thing anchoring her to the moment. Her chest rose and fell too fast. The towel was still wrapped around her, but her composure? That had slipped minutes ago. He hadn't moved. Still just a few feet away, but it felt like inches. Felt like if she took one breath too deep, she'd fall right into him. His voice broke the silence, barely louder than the hum of the fridge. You ever think, maybe this was supposed to happen? She turned to him slowly. Her eyes shimmered, not with tears, but with something heavier. You mean, us? He nodded once. I think about it more than I should. Her lips parted, the truth trembling just behind them. You think I don't? The air crackled. It wasn't just attraction anymore, it was longing. It was everything unsaid piling up, aching to be touched, to be understood. He stepped forward. One step. Then another. Close enough to see the tiny drop of water trailing down her neck. Close enough that she could hear his breath hitch when she didn't pull away. She looked up at him, voice a whisper. I don't know how to stop wanting you. He swallowed. Hard. Then don't. His hand rose slowly, like he was afraid to break the moment, and hovered just beside her cheek. Not touching. Just close enough to feel the heat between skin and air. She leaned into it. Just barely. Just enough. Their eyes locked, wide open, vulnerable, full of everything they couldn't say. His lips parted, breath shallow. Tell me to stop. But she couldn't. Her eyes dropped to his mouth. Then back to his eyes. A moment passed. Another. And just as the world tilted, just as everything trembled on the edge of too much, she stepped back. A single, shaking step. Not rejection. Self-preservation. He closed his eyes, exhaling the moment like a prayer half finished. Neither of them spoke. But in that silence, everything was said. The rain came suddenly that night, soft at first, like a whisper against the windows, then steadier, until it filled every room with its hush. It was the kind of night that wrapped the world in quiet, slowing time, softening everything it touched. She stood by the living room window, watching water streak down the glass, her robe loosely tied, her skin warm from the shower. The lights were dim, just the golden glow of a single lamp, flickering like candlelight. Everything felt suspended, like the whole house was holding its breath. He entered without a word, barefoot, in a worn t-shirt and joggers, hair still damp from the rain. When their eyes met, there was no pretending anymore. No turning away. No hiding behind what-ifs and we can't-yes. She didn't ask why he came to her. He didn't explain. Their bodies moved on instinct, not rushing, not trembling, just sure. As if the ache had shaped itself into something certain. He stopped just in front of her, hands at his sides, eyes searching hers. If we cross this line, he said, there's no pretending we didn't. She touched his chest lightly, fingers resting over his heartbeat. Then don't pretend. He breathed her in like it hurt. And when his hand finally touched her cheek, it was with reverence, like he'd wanted to for a lifetime and was only now allowed. Her breath melted into his. The kiss wasn't rushed. It was slow, like silk unraveling. Like every second had been waiting for this. Her fingers slid up his neck, into his hair, pulling him closer. His hands found the curve of her back, the warmth of her waist, the soft sigh that escaped her lips. When he lifted her, gently, easily, and carried her to the couch, the thunder rolled in the distance, low and deep, like the sky was echoing the storm inside them. Their bodies came together like a secret being told for the first time. Her robe slipped open, not with urgency, but surrender. His shirt came off in silence, their eyes never breaking. They spoke no words. They didn't need to. Her hands traced every inch of him like memory, his lips worshipped her shoulder, her collarbone, the hollow of her throat. The world narrowed to skin, breath, heat, to the space where her body met his, over and over, in rhythm and reverence. Their bodies spoke the words they couldn't say. I want you. I need this. I'm already yours. And when it was over, when they lay tangled together in the afterglow, heartbeats echoing in time with the rain, she pressed her forehead to his and whispered, "We were never just strangers in the same house." "No," he said. "We were always waiting for this moment." The morning crept in slow, like it was afraid to wake them. Soft light spilled through the curtains, touching everything in gold, the couch cushions, the half-empty glass of water, the way her fingers still rested lightly on his chest. Their bodies hadn't moved much, but something inside them had shifted completely. She opened her eyes first. And for a long moment, she just watched him sleep. Peaceful. Young. Older than he used to be, but still carrying that boyish vulnerability that broke her heart when she least expected it. He stirred gently, brow furrowing as if already feeling the weight of the day. When his eyes opened and found hers, neither of them smiled. Because this wasn't a fantasy anymore. This was real. He reached up, brushing a strand of hair from her cheek. "Hey." Her voice was quiet. "Hey." A beat passed. Then another. No regrets were spoken. But no promises were made either. She sat up, pulling the robe tighter around her. The silence between them felt heavier now, not cold, just uncertain. Real life had a way of crashing into even the most perfect night. "I should make coffee," she said, more to the room than to him. He nodded. "I'll help." But before either of them could move, a sharp knock echoed at the front door. They both froze. Her eyes snapped to his. "Are you expecting someone?" He shook his head. Another knock, louder this time. Then a voice. "Mom?" "It's me." Her blood ran cold. It was him. Her actual son. Back from college. Days earlier than expected. Panic twisted through her chest. She stood too fast, heart racing, robe slipping slightly before she caught it. He grabbed her wrist gently. "Breathe," he said, his voice steady despite the chaos flickering in his eyes. She nodded, but her pulse was already spiraling. "We didn't do anything wrong," he whispered, almost to himself. But as footsteps neared the door, as keys jingled, as reality banged against their perfect little night, the line between right and real blurred once again. The door had opened. Voices had filled the house. The day had rolled forward like nothing had changed. But everything had. She stood in the hallway now, arms crossed, robe replaced with a sweater and jeans, face washed clean, but something in her eyes remained storm-wet. He leaned against the frame of the kitchen doorway, watching her like it might be the last time. They hadn't spoken about it. Not really. Just sidelong glances. Half-finished sentences. And that one moment when their hands brushed while passing the coffee pot, and lingered, just a second too long. Now, it was time. He stepped forward, reaching for her hand. She let him take it. "Last night," he began, then stopped. She looked up, her smile sad but soft. "It was real." "Yeah." His voice cracked. "Too real to pretend it didn't happen." She nodded. "But maybe too real to keep happening." They stood in that silence, wrapped in everything they didn't want to ruin. "I don't regret it," he said quietly. She exhaled. "Neither do I." He leaned in, pressing a gentle kiss to her forehead, not with heat this time, but with something heavier. Something like goodbye. Or maybe, gratitude. She closed her eyes, letting herself feel it. One last heartbeat between them. One last breath shared. Then she stepped back. He didn't follow. "I'll be out in a few days," he said. She nodded. "Take your time." But they both knew it was the right thing. The rain had stopped outside. The sky was clearing. As he walked away, slow, quiet, careful not to look back, she watched him go. Her lips parted, as if to call him, but she didn't. Instead, she smiled. Faint. Mournful. Full of meaning. Because some moments aren't meant to last. They're meant to mark you. And he always would.